This is a special episode of the Subject Matter Minute. During these uncertain times brought on by COVID-19, your state government is attempting to do what is required of them to bring the pandemic under control. Things are ever changing, and the Subject Matter Minute will try to keep you in the know. And now, today's special episode of the Subject Matter Minute. Hello, everybody, and welcome to another COVID-19 inspired episode of the Subject Matter Minute. Now, as I mentioned before, I'm a seasoned teleworker, right? Now, if you've been one of my viewers, a longtime viewers, you've been along for some of this ride, to a certain extent. My home office used to be in the basement. It was a good room, it had a pretty constant temperature, which is a good thing. There was plenty of room. It was a nice long room. I was able to decorate it up and look nice, right? But there were some things that bugged me about it. All right, first of all, it had two tiny little windows. One of them really you couldn't even see out of because it has this weird screen. So really one window, and I was always covering it because it was bright on me for my recordings. The other thing was it had a really low ceiling, so it messed with my lighting, right? And then the worst thing was that it was in the basement, because if I had to work in the evenings, I'd have to bag out on my family and go hide out in the basement, and I'd feel really, separate from them. So when my daughter went to the university last year, there was a main floor bedroom that opened up. This one, I snagged it right away. It has great hardwood floors. It has two big, giant, nice windows. Has a high ceiling for my lights, So if you've been watching, you've noticed the transition. I'm thinking my lighting has been a lot better, and my mood in general. The other thing is, of course, it's on the main floor. The main action is out here, the kitchen, dining room, living room. So if I'm working in the evening, I'm not cut off from the family. I made it all the way through the show, and I realized I had forgotten to give you a tour of my workstation. So here you go. Okay, here's my actual office, the workstation that I work at. You can see I've got audio foam on the walls hanging from the picture rail, and my lights. That's how I light myself up. And here's my desk, and here's my working partner. Hey, Stashi. Hi. She likes to hang out with me a lot, which is awesome. One of the things they say to have is a pet. So that's the part of my office you don't see. Now, I was lucky enough to already have a home office when I started doing more and more remote work. Now, I think these days, since most people have computers at home, a lot of you probably do too. But if you don't, now's the time to grab some space. You need to have your own space. Okay, now if you literally don't have much space, you got to get creative. I linked a video down in the show notes, a cute video that kind of gives you some ideas for that. So check that out. Now, the state is trying to get everyone set up with what they need to telework, right? So make sure you have what you need. Now, everyone's job is going to be different, so you're going to have different needs. Okay, but don't be afraid to ask for what you need. Don't be a martyr and expect to sit at your laptop at your coffee table all day. Now, while a little bit of time on the couch is awesome, it's going to hurt after a while, okay? All right, so I'm going to stop there because I was actually going to start going down these lists. We've all been getting these emails with lists about how to telework, right? If you haven't seen the lists, I put some down in the show notes. They're good lists. I'm not saying they're bad, but I want to tell you what I do, okay? So here's what I do. First of all, the beautiful thing about working from home is that you can make it your own. Now, what works will be different for everybody. Personally, what I do is I start my day off with some laptop time on the couch. Like I said, that can be good for a little while, right? It's a way more comfortable place to finish my coffee for the day, okay? Now, I'm an early riser, so that means I usually get up about 5 o'clock. So I spend some time on the couch getting some busy work done. And then we also have a home gym downstairs where my old office used to be. And so I usually, sometimes, often, will spend about an hour in the home gym. Okay, not always. But again, that is the beauty of working from home, right? Flexibility. So after my post-workout shower, bit of breakfast, I hit my home office right here. Honestly, for me, the hardest thing about working from home is constant snacking. I am a hungry guy. I'm always hungry, it seems. And it's really easy to just hit the kitchen. It's just right there. And there's tons of snack food. Now, I don't think that's a really good way to eat. And it's also easy to make bad decisions as far as food choices. So I've tried to limit that. One of the things I do is I've started drinking a variety of beverages. Now, of course, that's on most lists. You should stay hydrated no matter what, no matter where you are, where you're working. Okay. But I start off with my coffee, like I said, and then a little bit later, I might have some bubbly drinks from our soda stream. And then after lunch, maybe I have tea, all the while peppering in the water. Okay. Now, another strategy I use to not snack all day is to, when I'm really think I'm hungry, even though I know I'm not, I'll go walk around the block a couple times. Now, that's a nice segue into something else I like to do. I like to go outside. A couple short walks during the day, maybe 15 minutes or something, really are good for clearing your head, and I also try to get 15 to 20 minutes of sun a day. You might be able to tell, but honestly, I'm Hungarian, so I would be brown no matter what. But I really think it's important to get some actual sun for vitamin D and for your sanity. Okay. Now, I will often bring my laptop out when I'm getting that 15 minutes of sun so I can, keep working. Now, obviously, that's something that all office workers should do. Get out of the office, get outside, get a little sun because you're cooped up all day, right? So on that same note of going outside, it's also nice to work somewhere outside of your home office occasionally. Now, right now during COVID-19, you can't do that. That's not something you should be doing. But if you should find yourself teleworking in the future, doing this more often, find yourself a teleworking buddy or two. Okay? They're everywhere. They really are. A lot of people work from home. Now, every Wednesday, me and two to three other teleworkers do a rotating coffee shop thing for a couple hours and have coffee and, chat. Now, it's probably not the most productive 2 hours of my week, but, we chat, we get busy work done on the computer. And most importantly, we see other adults, other humans, because teleworking can be quite lonely. It's a little different right now because most of you probably have your families at home, but normal teleworking can be. So even if you can't find a teleworking buddy down the road, if you're still teleworking, I suggest people go to a public place to work every once in a while just to see other folks. Next, I have a VeriDesk. Now, you may have noticed in that little video I showed you at the beginning of my office, it's that wonderful apparatus that can lift your stuff up high so you can stand. I'm standing right now. It is absolutely necessary in my opinion. It's also absolutely expensive. Before I was able to get one, I was drawing plans on how to create one because sitting all day is so bad for you, right? So see if you can get something so you can stand and sit and vary it up during the day. All right, another thing, don't be afraid to have flexible hours, all right? One of the joys of working from home is the ability to run errands when you need to, help the kids when they need it, and adjust your schedule to times that work for your brain and your body. Naturally, now you're going to have overlapping hours with your coworkers so you can, teleconference or chat or however you're going to communicate with them. But that's easy, right? Some people feel like you have to work 8 to 5, but that's not true. Now, of course, there are circumstances when you have to. First of all, if your boss just insists, sorry. But if you have to answer the phone all day from 8 to 5, then you're out of luck. But my work is completely project-based. So while I don't, I could work in the middle of the night or anytime I want to. Having said that, another thing that I think is very important, and it's in all the lists, you'll see it, and it's something that I don't do very well, is to unplug daily and also for several days in a row occasionally if you can. Okay. For some reason, those of us who work from home feel like we need to be available all the time. All right. Well, whether you know it or not, that is a big drain on your energy. Okay. We need to turn it off each day, whether it's like for dinner time or some time during the evening to hang with your family. And it's also important to try to have short vacations where you literally unplug. Okay. Now, I know right now, I think we're all hyper plugged in because of COVID-19. It's a crazy time and it feels like things are changing constantly, so we're always checking. But do yourself a favor and unplug. Next, I mentioned it briefly, but keep in touch with your coworkers outside of email, okay? Do it however feels and works the best for you. I tend to use Google Chats. I will often have like 3 or 4 of them open at the same time. Okay? I put a great article down in the show notes. It's a LinkedIn article. They suggest having like virtual coffee with a coworker and even like virtual happy hours with your team. Now, we've had several virtual happy hours with friends. Ow, I just bit my tongue. With friends, and those have been a blast. We did a trivia one. I think we're going to do a Would You Rather one here coming up tomorrow night. Anyways, it's a lot of fun, and I think it would be a great way to bond with your coworkers during these stressful times. Finally, exercise. Now, you know this is important to me. I've said it already. I exercise most days. I get up bright and early and I do it and I get it out of the way. But if that's not your cup of tea, you still may find it easier to find time now that you're not getting ready and driving to work. You know, whether or not you do it in the morning, flex that time. Find the spot in the day where exercise works for you. Now, it could also be the couple short walks during the day or hitting the home gym later at 11 o'clock or something like I do, okay? Well, I hit mine early, but whenever you need to, whenever you can, get that exercise in. It helps everything in so many ways. Okay, there are a lot of other ideas out there for making the most out of teleworking, but these are mine. Please check out the lists and the articles that I have down in the show notes. There's a lot of good information. One of the common things that I see is a lot of them say to dress for work, dress like, get up, get ready, and dress like you would have when you were going in. Personally, I find that to be silly. I don't work in my pajamas, but usually if you're dressing for work, it means you're not as comfortable as you could be. Now, each to their own, that's up to you. If you want to get in your suit and tie and work at your office, that's fine. All right, that's it for today. Stay sane out there. And if you're now teleworking, enjoy your new digs. See you next time. You have been watching a special episode of the Subject Matter Minute dealing with the effects of COVID-19 on the state of Wyoming. Check your email for more special episodes dealing with this issue. Thanks for watching the Subject Matter Minute.